Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Yay, brand new day. I actually slept pretty well. I mean, I woke up, of course, between like 3-ish and 5-ish and did some tossing and turning, but then I fell back asleep again. It was late when I got to bed, close to midnight, but I slept. So, thumbs up for that, a very good thing. I'm still taking, before I go to bed, a handful of antihistamines because I'm still on the tail end of my cold, but during the daytime, I don't. I just live and breathe, and I'm coughing periodically, but there's still pollen in the air, and I do have allergies. And I do have to, well, I don't have to, I choose to partake of cannabis through the smoking and vaping kind, because edibles are just, I can't afford it, it's way too expensive. So, yay. But past that, feeling really good. Hopefully I sound, normal, because I still don't sound normal to myself. I'm getting closer, getting there every day. Thumbs up on that. Couple things I want to talk about, not massive, great things, but one of them is just I've been sort of thinking about this morning and coming to terms with, because it's not something that was just this morning, it's just the culmination of my thoughts on it with the game Morrowind and the characters, because the bad guy in the game Morrowind is this character named Dagoth Ur, and he's trying to get enough power to power up this giant, it's basically a mechanical robot, because the game Morrowind and Tamriel is really odd. One of the things that happened in history is one of the characters made up a giant golem, effectively a giant mech, and terrorized part of the countryside with it before it was destroyed. And so in the game Morrowind, the big main bad guy is trying to make up a new mechanical golem powered by this supernatural artifact. Thing is, though, I've come to sympathize more and more with the bad guy, Dagoth Ur, because his primary motivation is drive the invaders out of Morrowind, because Morrowind has been colonized by the Imperials, and the more I think about the game, the more as much as I like the Imperials in the game, they've been horrific. They've been bringing, civilization to the savages of the countryside by the sword, and just being horrifically colonializing that way, running roughshod over local custom and such. And it's like, yeah, I see them now as more just the colonializing force and not good, and I sympathize with Dagoth Ur wanting to drive the invaders out. Problem is, he's also wrong in that times do change. Cultures do change, things do change. You can't worship the past and try to bring the past back. The worms do not go back into the can. You can't put the genie back into the bottle. So I sympathize with the main character, but I don't know. And of course, the actual process in the game of you becoming the prophesied one is, at any point, in the context of game terms, you could fail and not become the prophesied one. And you find a cave filled with the mummified bodies and the ghosts of those in the past who have tried to fulfill the prophecy. And through fault of their own or no fault of their own, whether they were too early or they sought too much for fame and glory, they followed the path of prophecy and then wandered off at some point, and it did not apply to them anymore. It's just random luck, seemingly through the game, that you actually fulfill these prophecies, and you become the prophesied one. But even at the end, it's like, it could all be coincidence, but it's not, but it could be. I love that game. It is great. But that's just the thing I was thinking of this morning, and the stuff that has come to terms with that. I was thinking last night, I have issues with stuff like, math and the like. I can do basic addition and subtraction in my head pretty easily. Once I get to multiplication, I start having issues the larger the numbers. I have problems with division entirely. I have troubles conceptualizing and understanding it. And when I was in high school, you had to pass basic algebra to graduate high school. I had to take it twice. The first time I failed it horribly. The second time I passed by the skin of my teeth. I do not understand math. I am no mathematician. At the same time, I can conceptually imagine some things. Like when I'm going to be talking in the intro to my framework of cosmic horror stuff that I'm going to be doing the videos on, and my nose is itchy, I'm very sorry. One of the things I talk about is just regular numbers versus what I call infinite numbers, which are just numbers that are normal numbers. They're just so large the human brain cannot comprehend them. They're just normal integers, but they are so large that our brains just go pop, and we consider them infinite, but they're not. They're just so incredibly large. Like the number of subatomic particles in the universe. Absolutely astronomical. I mean, just the number of subatomic particles within your body is enough to make your brain explode. Imagine that for the entire visible universe. It's a number we cannot comprehend, but it is an integer, a non-infinite integer. These are numbers I call infinite because they're not infinite, but they're so large. But infinite numbers, we don't have any real examples of that in our universe. We don't have anything that is infinite in number, or size, or volume, or weight, or surface area. Any of the things that we can measure, nothing that we have in our physical universe is infinite. So it's hard for us to wrap our heads around it. And yet, the thing I managed to finally come to terms with last night is, because numbers, integers, there are an infinite number of integers, but it's not an actual thing. It is a concept and a process. Because the process of addition is always the question, what is the value you just came up with? +1. Repeat. It is an infinite process because you can always add +1. There is no number so large in our universe that you cannot add +1, and it will get bigger. Now remember, for something to actually be infinite, if you can affect it in any way, numerically by doing things to it, it is not infinite, it is just infinite. If you take the number of particles in our universe, divide it in half, you have cut that large number in half. It is still 2 integers now, but they're just half the size. But if you have something that is infinitely large and you cut it into an infinite number of smaller pieces, each of those pieces is going to have to be infinitely large itself. Because if you can affect it that way, by cutting it numerically, it's not infinite, it's just infinite. So each of those smaller pieces is still infinitely large. But wrap your head around this part, because even though this infinite number is infinite and this number is infinite, this number is a smaller infinite number than this one, because this infinite number contains the smaller set of this infinite number. And each of those infinitely smaller pieces, being infinitely large, can again be cut into an infinite number of smaller pieces that are still infinitely large. Because if you can cut it and manipulate it in any way and it becomes lesser and smaller, it's not infinite. So you can do that for an infinite amount of time, and each of those pieces will still be infinitely large. Now, the process of adding +1, you would say, well, that number of integers obviously is not an infinite amount. The process makes it infinite, because you can change this number numerically, as in numbers or volume. You can change it in surface area, you can change it in weight. But as a process through time, because you can always add plus 1 as a process running through time. That process is infinite. And because it is infinite through time, it fulfills the requirements of being infinite. Because you can take that process of plus 1 equals, what is that value? Plus 1. That is a process that can never stop. It becomes infinite through time. And yeah, it's like you can change and manipulate the numbers. Well, add plus 2. Now you're adding to it twice as fast. It's becoming infinite twice as fast. And yet it's still infinite through time. Only count every other integer. Add plus 2. Only count every fourth one. It is still infinite. If you make it, what is the previous value? Plus 1 billion equals, repeat. You can always add another billion. It doesn't matter what the numerical process is. It is infinite through time. So thumbs up on that. So, and yeah, if you only count every other thing as an integer, only even numbers, it is still an infinite process through time. But it's only half the size of all the integers. But that's infinite, and this is infinite. But this infinity of just regular integers is larger than this infinite amount because it contains this subset. And then within those, even numbers, so now you only count every 4. But it's still an infinite process through time. But each process is smaller, but infinite. So thumbs up on that. Let's see, what do I have on time? Oh, I need to move quicker on this one. There's also, I've thought about and talked about how really if you take a look at time, there is actually no such thing as actual gravity being caused by mass, because we have an acceleration through time. It is a constant acceleration moving forward through time, and time is a dimension of measurement. And so we are traveling forward through time. But the thing is, of course, and I've talked about this before, but it's been a while, gravity moves slower in a gravity well the closer you get down to the source of the gravity point. On the surface of our planet, our feet are closer to the gravity well. In time, they move slower than the top of our head, which is farther away. The tops of our head move faster than our feet through time. And because that is an acceleration vector, if your feet are moving slower, that brings you downward. We can't move through mass, and there is mass under our feet. And the closer we get to gravity, the more it pulls us downward. Gravity is a function of time moving through a gravity well. So, because things move slower, that's what brings things downward, which creates the gravity well, which of course creates more drag on time. What is time like between galaxies, where there are very, very few of anything to cause any sort of gravity at all? There are huge voids within our universe that are gigantic. I mean, they are gigantic, where there is literally nothing in there. What is time like in there? And of course, if you tried to measure it, you'd have to put something in there to measure it, which is a collection of mass which slows down time, which is going to alter your measurements. How would we even know? And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. I'm going to go through and thank 20 to 25 people who haven't left me a comment. Yeah, if I mispronounce your name, I'm very sorry. If I lose track, I'm getting better. And it's 20 to 25 because, hey, that's a lot of people, roughly. So we have Honor, thumbs up and thank you. I can't speak English all of a sudden. Emmeline Simon, thumbs up and thank you. Ice Damon, greatly appreciated. Nick Meeks, thumbs up and thank you. Bobbles Flopalopagus, thumbs up and thank you. Good ideas. I'll have to see what I can do. Dawn, thumbs up. That One War 1970, thank you. Serial Spiller, I like the name, thumbs up. We have Kay, greatly appreciated, and Jacob Martin, thank you very, very much. There is Floppa, thumbs up. Jordan Mill, greatly appreciated. Shivanji Pandy, I sure hope I'm close, thank you very much. Jesus, thumbs up and thank you. They Call Me Skinny, greatly appreciated. Made in Canada, good to see you in the comments. Thumbs up on that. Big Ol' Worm, thumbs up. We have Clackamas Lee, greatly appreciated. There is So and So, thumbs up and thank you. Then there's Kapaki, good to see you in the comments. And we have Brandon Romo, thumbs up. Melissa R, good to see you as well. It's been a time. There is Dara O'Flanagan, I sure hope I'm close, thumbs up and thank you. Mark Kennett, thumbs up. And Will Gaiman, thumbs up and thank you all so very, very much. You get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people. Thank you so very, very much. It is appreciated to no end. And of course, I would like, well, not yet, don't do that part yet. I would like to, good golly, Miss Molly, it's been so long since I've done this part. If you could check out my various links down below, that would be very, very cool. I have things like Twitter and Facebook and Patreon.com. Now I do this and say, if you could become a Patreon.com patron, look, one of these beautiful and awesome people, that would be beautiful and awesome. Not just an inability to speak English, but just an inability to use my voice box. My apologies. If you'd like to help me out without sending money through the patronage, I do have a PayPal link down below, and there is an Amazon wishlist link if you wanted to check that out. That would be very cool. Do not feel obligated. I don't feel entitled, and if you cannot donate or you simply do not donate, I take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart. So thumbs up and thank you very, very much. If you could toss me a like, I appreciate all the positive validation I get. And of course, if you hit the notification bell on the subscription button, that would be very cool. Thank you very much. Well, good golly, Miss Molly, I'm feeling better all the time. I'm having to push through my voice box still, but I'm on the tail end of this. I'm feeling so much better. I went for extra walkies yesterday, so I went and paid my rent with a long walk in the first part of the day, and then I went on a near 5-mile walkies at the tail end of the day. So thumbs up on that. Definitely a good thing. If you have to go out, please wear a mask and wash your hands and try not to touch your face. Maintain your social distancing. Watch out for the anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers. Oy vey. So, you take care. Have a great day today. We'll see you on the flip side, and that is a definite thumbs up.